Hi, everyone. Yeah, we are live after the Miami Dolphins 13-6 victory against the Washington Commanders at Hard Rock Stadium in a game that started off excitingly enough with the two young quarterbacks doing their thing. The Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, the Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels. And then the backups came in and the game went south a little bit. And apparently we are having some issues here. What's going on? Let's see this here because what's going on? Let's see. I'm going to keep talking after. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, here we go. Okay, apologies for this. I don't know what was going on. So anyway, yeah, kind of a rough go at this game after a while. And so the big stories for the Dolphins, Tua looked really, really sharp. First team offense, well, first team minus Tyreek Hill, minus Jalen Waddle, minus Teron Armstead, still looked very sharp. Right down the field, the only time that group played together, Tua was 5 for 5. Couple of good throws, couple of very simple throws off of creative plays. Nice play adjustment on a quick throw to Jonnu Smith when he got immediate pressure and he kind of ducked his angle and got the ball away. That was a nice play. The touchdown pass to River Craycraft in the corner of the end zone, absolutely perfect fade. We hate those fades, but this was from the 13-yard line, so maybe that's the key. The Dolphins need to stop calling the fade from the 5-yard line, just do it from the 13-yard line. Perfect pass. Unfortunately, that was the last we saw of River Craycraft during the game, and that became a theme for the Dolphins. By last count, I had 7 players who got injured at one time or another. I'm going to try to go off the top of my head. It included David Long Jr., linebacker Ezekiel Vandenberg, offensive lineman Sean Harlow, running back Chris Brooks, cornerback Cam Smith, and I'm going to miss somebody. Oh, wide receiver Braylon Sanders, and can't think of anybody else, but there were 7. I did count them. The one that looked the worst was Sean Harlow, who kind of had the same deal that happened as with Keon Smith in the preseason opener against the Atlanta Falcons, which is basically somebody landing on the side of his leg, of his knee. Not going to speculate on the nature, severity of the injury. Let's just say it did not look good. This was a play where Mike White was sacked. And hate to be that guy, but no, I don't hate to be that guy. And I'm going to be that guy. I think I cautioned during the week about slowing down the roll a little bit with Patrick Paul. Well, on that sack of Mike White, this was a play where linebacker Jamin Davis took a hard cut inside and took advantage of Patrick Paul beginning his pass protection set way too wide, and Davis had a very easy path to beat him inside, and it was a clean beat. Mike White didn't have much of a chance. Sack, fumble, and in the process, Sean Harlow got hurt. Don't think it's somebody who's going to make the 53-man roster. This is a veteran who the Dolphins signed after training camp had started. You just hate to see a guy go down like that. Again, hopefully it's not serious. Cam Smith certainly looked like a hamstring. He was done in punt coverage. And then he was basically hobbling off the field, holding the back of his right leg the entire time. Again, as far as the other ones are concerned, Chris Brooks looked like a shot around the neck area. Braylon Sanders looked like it was a lower leg injury. Hopefully none of those injuries are serious. River Craycraft have no clue what happened to him. But it was a night, again, where there were a lot of injuries. And then last week, if we remember, the Dolphins wound up putting 3 guys on injured reserve as a result of injuries sustained in the game: Cam Brown, Keon Smith, and Grayson Murphy. Certainly hoping that that's not going to be anywhere near the case here. The Dolphins did not have the services of, as I mentioned, Hill and Waddle and Armstead on offense. The guys who have been nursing injuries on defense, Javon Holland, Jalen Ramsey, also did not play. We did see Calais Campbell, Jalen Phillips, who's just back from PUP, did not play. That was to be expected. Jalen Wright did not play. I'm guessing he's dealing with some sort of minor injury. So he wasn't able to build on the very impressive performance he had in the preseason opener against Atlanta. The other rookie class members, on the other hand, Chop Robinson had one big play when he got into the backfield very quickly to drop somebody for a 4-yard loss. Mo Camara had a tackle for loss, also had a sack when he completely abused the Washington left tackle with an inside move as well, but this one was more about power than it was about leverage. Great play there by Mo Camara. Patrick Paul did not have as good a game as he did against Atlanta. This is not shocking, folks. The guy has very, very intriguing potential. But again, we need to slow our roll. There was no dominant down the field blocks in the run game like we saw against Atlanta. There were a couple of plays where he kind of had bad positioning. This is still a guy who's going to be I don't want to necessarily use the word project, but he's a guy who's going to be a work in progress, and still think that if something were to happen to Teron Armstead once the regular season starts, it would be Kendall Lamb who would be your left tackle and not Patrick Paul. Malik Washington did some very good things in the return game. He did have one pass thrown in his direction during the game by Skylar Thompson down the left sideline, left his feet, but got both hands on the ball. That was a catch that he should have made. Not to say that it was an easy catch, but he should have made it. So, and the same goes for Mike Harley Jr. in the fourth quarter when Mike White scrambled to his left, threw the ball on the move. Good throw. Mike Harley was backpedaling at the time. The ball was around his eye level. Got to make that catch. And this is not the same. And I got a little back and forth with some folks on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. There was a throw in the end zone. This one was from Skylar Thompson, which was a good throw. He was on the move to his right, threw over the top of the defense, except that the last defender, who may have been a linebacker, I'm not quite sure, got his hands on the ball and changed the trajectory of the ball. And while then it's not enough that it completely missed Berrios' hands, but enough to where, again, if your concentration is on a zip line like this, straight ahead, and then it takes a turn to the side, it's a massive ask, and it's completely out of bounds from where I sit to suggest that that's a drop. So this notion with the ball hit his hands, you got to catch it. No, it's not quite that simple. Okay. And for anybody who's played hockey and my goalies in particular, if you're out there, back me up on this. That'd be like saying that if a shot is deflected, if it's not a major deflection, you still should be able to catch it or stop it. No, that's not how it works. It's kind of difficult. Trying to think what else stood out. The running game was okay, certainly not as prolific as it was against Atlanta. Particularly, there was no outstanding rushing performance like we saw from Jalen Wright. Eric Ezukama had himself a really nice performance. Maybe had a couple of long gainers, maybe 35 yards, 24 yards, and maybe his best play of the game was actually a 6-yard run on an end around where he was met in the backfield by a couple of guys that had a Washington defender draped all over him, managed to get out of that tackle, reverse his field, and wound up gaining 6 yards on a play that should have lost 6. So that was really impressive. Was that going to make a difference in terms of his ability to make the 53-man roster? I don't know. And this is where I mentioned Malik Washington's good work in the punt return game. And again, working under the assumption that Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Odell Beckham Jr., River Craycraft, and Malik Washington are locks for your 53-man roster. Is this where maybe it opens the door? Malik Washington's work as a punt returner in the return game, could that make Braxton Berrios expendable in favor of Eric Ezukama, who brings a different skill set? This guy's very, very good in the open field. Ball in his hands in the open field. Remember last summer we were talking about him as a mini Deebo Samuel. Again, not like Deebo Samuel, but used kind of the same way and with the good open field skills as well. There's a lot to like about Eric Ezukama. The dude's got some skill. So Don't know if where he stands. My guess is he's still on the bubble. But I don't think it's out of the question he makes the 53. We should talk, obviously, about the quarterbacks. We'll get to all the comments, as we always do in our post-game live shows. And again, if I haven't already said it, and I should have, I apologize. I appreciate everyone joining me. Thank you very much for that. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And again, we're here to recap the Dolphins' 13-6 victory against the Washington Commanders, which came down to a fourth down play. And if we're going to be honest about it, that was a pure drop by the Washington receiver in front of Isaiah Johnson, who's been a very, very good rookie free agent cornerback. But he got beat on that one. Should have been a touchdown, at which point Washington would have gone for 2 because there's no overtime anymore in the preseason. So I can't imagine they would have, and then it would have been one last play. So that the Dolphins won because the Washington receiver dropped the ball. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What this game was about, again, it was Tua getting some work, and he looked great. The backup quarterbacks, again, didn't look good either. And I think last I checked, the passer rating for both would have been under 70, which is really not good. But again, you also have to consider the circumstances, which are not ideal. Particularly if we look at Mike White, by the time he ended the game against, he's playing with third teamers. His running back at the end of the game is Jaquan Burton, who, if you know the Dolphins roster, actually is a wide receiver. But the thing is, the Dolphins were dressing 3 running backs tonight: Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, and Chris Brooks. No Savon Ahmed, no Jeff Wilson Jr., no Jalen Wright. And then by the time Chris Brooks was injured in the third quarter, I want to say early in the third quarter, after he had a really long run of 59 yards, Dolphins didn't want to put Raheem Mostert back in the game. They didn't want to put Devon Achane back in the game. So what they did, they have a little powwow with Jaquan Burton while the trainers are tending to Chris Brooks, and they're basically giving him a crash course, and I mean a major crash course into what he needs to do at running back so he can play the position for the last quarter and a half, which is what he did. So these are not ideal conditions. I would say of the 2 quarterbacks, I'm not convinced that I think Mike White was probably the better of the 2. Interesting to me that it was Skylar Thompson, though, who got the second reps at quarterback after Tua again. I still think this Mike White's going to be the second quarterback, but not etched in stone. And I was wrong. Mike White was at 72.1 in terms of his passer rating. Skylar's at 63.5. But again, we got to look beyond those numbers. I don't know that I'd say that either one looked great. Mike White had a couple of really nice throws. He had like a nice over-the-top throw to Eric Ezukama for 35 yards. And then there was also like a nice dart in traffic to one of the tight ends, maybe Hayden Rucci. I don't remember exactly. Chris Brooks had the 159-yard run. Defensively, the Dolphins got themselves sacked. The pressure came from the interior defensive lineman. Did a good job with that. Isaiah Mack had a sack. Neville Gallimore had a sack and some pressure. Brandon Peely had a sack as well. And then the other one was split by Channing Tindall and Mark Perry, the safety, who would later make a mental mistake when he got a pick off a deflection in the final minutes of regulation with Washington trying to come back. And then what he did is he wound up running with the ball, big stars in his eyes, looking at the end zone the other way. Ball knocked out from his hand from behind or the side. Washington recovers, gets another chance to win the game with a late comeback, which didn't happen. But this is the kind of play where I think he's going to be told when they do the film review, you get a pick in that circumstance. Get your butt down. So Jason Sanders, 2 field goals, but he had another miss from, I want to say, 49 yards, wide right. Again, the thing with kickers, it doesn't necessarily translate from preseason to regular season. So he could go, he could be 2 for 6 in the preseason and go 19 for 19 in the regular season. Still, having said that, don't necessarily like to see him miss field goals. While we're on the topic of special teams, Jake Bailey has a great 66-yard punt. And even though it went into the end zone for a touchback, if you do the math, it's still a 46-yard net, and the Dolphins would take a 46-yard net punt every day of the week. Except then later on, after the Dolphins have to punt for the last time, he shanks it 29 yards, and Washington starts its last drive at its 47. So that's not good, and that's not the kind of inconsistency you want from your punter. Outside of that, trying to think of guys who stood out one way or the other, and I don't know that anybody jumps out. And with that, I'm going to jump to the comments section. And I'm going to start with Chris. It's just a donation. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. And I think I saw you had some comments before. I'm going to make it a point to get to yours. Dog Feather, thank you very much for the contribution. This was a hard game to keep watching. I just wanted it to end. The timeouts at the end of the game were ridiculous. Yes. And this, unfortunately, that happens in a lot of preseason games, where sometimes you can get some good stuff early on, and then, yeah, I'm with you. It's like, oh, man, is this thing going to keep dragging? Yeah, it was a rough watch in the second half, no question. And then you can get a preseason game that's going to end 30-27, and those can be fun, even though most of the big plays are created by guys who you know are not going to be on an NFL active roster in the regular season. Still, it still can be enjoyable. A 13-6 game, usually not so much. Gilbert Martinez, super sticker. Thank you very much, sir. And then we're going to go at the beginning of these, so catch them in order. Here we go. Chris, here we go, Chris. Good. I'm glad I'm taking care of you. Hill better than Waddle, better than OBJ in theory, better than Craycraft, better than SE, better than Washington. I'm assuming that because those are the greater than signs. Hill, Waddle, OBJ, Craycraft, Easy E, Washington, Berrios. I don't have a major issue with what you're putting down there. I don't. And Craycraft is there again, partly because of intangibles, and he's a guy who does a lot of the little things right, including blocking, which we all know Mike McDaniel really loves. Chris again, Poop, in what position do we have depth where we should trade for OL roles? Okay, here's the thing, and I'm glad you asked this because this comes up quite a bit. O-line depth and quality is a rare commodity, a lot more so than other spots where the Dolphins might have depth. And for example, if we're looking at the Dolphins' depth, I think what they have at wide receiver is massively overblown. I don't think they're very deep at wide receiver at all, actually. So that's out the window. Running back, yes, the Dolphins are deep. They have several quality players: Mostert, Achane, Jeff Wilson Jr., Jalen Wright. I like Chris Brooks a lot. But running backs, at the risk of sounding cliche-ish or a dime a dozen, it's unless you're talking about somebody who is massively high-end, you're not getting it, certainly not getting an offensive lineman for a running back, generally speaking. What you're going to get is a late-round pick. And if your guy is special like a Derrick Henry or somebody of that ilk, then maybe you can get a higher round pick. So I don't know about that. The Dolphins do have a lot of depth or a lot of defensive backs. I don't know that they have guys who are tradable. What I like about their defensive backs is I like the potential of their three rookie free agents: Isaiah Johnson, Storm Duck, and Jason Maitre. Don't know that you're getting a backup offensive lineman for any of them. So I don't know that the Dolphins are going to be able to do that, number one. Number two, generally speaking, teams that have quality depth at offensive line are not really happy about giving it away. So I don't see that happening. Okay, Chris, one more time. I'm also curious about your thoughts on Storm Duck. He makes more plays than Kohu. Well, okay. Yeah, and here's the thing. Storm Duck also plays in the fourth quarter against third stringers. Cater Kohu plays in the first half against the first teamers. Cater tackles extremely well. I haven't checked around the league, but I'm going to guess he's a top 5, top 10 tackling cornerback in the NFL. And with Storm Duck, yeah, his coverage was pretty good today. I also say there were a couple of times, looked to me, was very handsy where he should be happy the officials weren't flag happy. Otherwise, he might have had a couple of illegal contact or DPI's penalty. Old man Jeb, backup QB, seemed to play better tonight. I do think it was a little bit better. Nick Acuna, Skylar Thompson, and Mike White, pack your bags, get the F out of here. And Nick, who would you suggest the Dolphins get instead? And please don't say Ryan Tannehill. Please don't say Ryan Tannehill. Wow, 5 for 51 looked really good. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah, that touchdown pass was beautiful. Thing of beauty. Dog feather. I think you said that right. Just needed this to end. Can't believe the timeouts at the end. Yep, they do that. Michael Tourman, let's go. Yep, he did. He went. Phil Montgomery, these preseason games are too long. Why not a running clock in the second half? You would get no objection from me. I will assure you of that. Not happening, but you will get no objection from me. Chris, Tua looked great. Absolutely. Andrew, Poop, thanks for everything you do. And thank you. What I do means nothing if you guys are not there to consume it, whether it's the podcast, whether it's the stories on the website, Miami Dolphins on SI. And again, you see the URL under my name here. And you also can use the URL MiamiDolphinsOnSI.com. Easy to remember. We've also started a Facebook page, Miami Dolphins on SI, that I invite everyone to check out. And Instagram account is next. Full details to come. I will put those in the comment and out on Twitter when they become available. Lo-fi anime NFT, nice touch on the TD pass. I don't know. It wasn't nice touch. That was great touch on the TD pass. Raphael Courtwright, is Chris Brooks okay? I'm going to guess going to be to be determined, and we'll know more tomorrow. The Crazy Greek, this is by far the best group to ever don a Dolphin uniform, undefeated, or the season is a failure. Whoa, okay. Whoa. This is where I might suggest, the Crazy Greek, that some people, not me, mind you, some people might say you're living up to your name. When you say perfect season or the season's a failure. Okay. Nick, again, Storm Duck looks solid. Hopefully makes it onto the 53. I don't know that I like, see, here's the thing. I don't like Storm Duck more than I like Isaiah Johnson or Jason Maitre. I think the Dolphins have three guys who can play in the NFL at cornerback. They also have a lot of other bodies in the secondary who are more established. So I don't know. I did a roster projection 3.0 on the Saturday, and I may or may not have included one of those rookie free agents. Check it out and find out. Mark, heavy. Storm Duck is on the fence. His special teams work will get him on the roster. Kohu is a lock at slot corner, in my opinion. Kader Kohu, yeah, is an absolute lock, without question. What's the name of locks? Stanley Locks, whatever the company is that makes locks. Yes, that's Kader Kohu. There is, I'm trying to think of a percentage of a chance he's not on the 53, and I can't even come up with a number. How about 0.0? Kader Kohu is a lock to make this roster. Storm Duck, I would say he's on the much lower half of 50-50. Allen 3. Okay. Don't know what that means, but okay. A lot of Storm Duck comments. Storm Duck is going to the practice squad. Yeah. It also, I would not put outside the realm of possibility that Storm Duck gets waived and somebody claims him. Like I said, there's something there. There definitely is something there. Nick, backup QB is a major liability. Need to patch from another roster or free agent. Again, can we, and this is why I didn't like this, can we get Mike White some reps with the first team offense in a preseason game to see what he looks like? I mean, he had a couple of throws. You tell me that throw to Eric Ezukama over the top wasn't a big-time throw. Again, this is a guy who is, most of his playing time has come with second teamers, third teamers, guys who are just barely got onto the roster, finished the game with a running back who's actually a wide receiver because they didn't want to put Raheem or Achane back in the game. Can we give the guy a shot with the first team offense? That's my request. Randy Rogers. Hey, Randy, your thoughts on Cam Smith? He had a very interesting game. Badly whiffed on a tackle in the first quarter, first drive of the game for Washington, I believe it was. It was a 3rd and short, and it was a quick pass to Terry McLaurin, who basically stopped in front of Smith. Smith was giving him some cushion. No problem there, except that he went to make the tackle. Wasn't close enough. McLaurin spun outside of him and ran for about 20 more yards. That was bad. But Smith came back with a couple of other good plays, including some tackles where he was physical, and then he had great coverage down the right sideline. I like Cam Smith. I think there's something there to work with. I think he's got good potential. I saw some people hitting me up on social media tonight telling me another bust like that, or I had a Cordray Tankersley comparison, and sorry, I'm not with you there. I think there's something there. I think he can become a player. I don't like that he got a hamstring injury. I am hoping it's not going to keep him out of practice for long at all, because he's been making some headway. And remember, he was really good in training camp last summer, and then it went south. So, Dogfeather, my man, thank you so very much. Thanks for all the content. Best Dolphin coverage by far. Have a great night, Poop. Dude, or ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm going to assume with Dogfeather, you're a guy. Regardless, very, very much appreciated. Deeply touched by the comment. Thank you very, very much. Whoa, Raphael. Whoa, collarbone injury to Chris Brooks broken. Whoa, I don't have those details now. No, whoa. Oh man, I hope not. That would be a shame. Nuclear Nick, are we doomed before the season even starts? LOL. No. Why? Because there are a lot of injuries. Again, if you can avoid the massive injuries to key players, that's what you're looking for. Again, the Dolphins have had nothing as severe as losing their rookie first-round pick quarterback like the Vikings had with J.J. McCarthy, or the Buffalo Bills losing probably their best defensive player with Matt Milano, who's out until at least December, or so the report suggests. So, yeah, the Dolphins have had their share of injuries. They put 4 guys on IR, which sucks, but they have not lost a key player yet. And let's look at it this way. They're ahead of the game from last year because at this time, Dolphins had lost Jalen Ramsey for half the season. So, Sean Lucas, special teams was shaky. What is that? I don't recall any returns by Washington. Jake Bailey was spotty. Jason Sanders had the one miss. Malik Washington actually was good on returns. There was a holding penalty on a kickoff return. They announced it to Savan Ahmed, and we know it wasn't him because he wasn't in uniform. I don't know who it was. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Again, I don't know. NFT, kind of odd. They only dressed 3 RBs, 2 you only wanted for a few series. Well, Savan Ahmed's been dealing with a foot injury. He just got back. Was the other? Jeff Wilson Jr. didn't practice all week. He's injured, got an injury of some kind. And then Jalen Wright, I am going to assume, and it's a pretty educated guess, that he sustained some kind of injury in practice, because we did see him in practice this week. So you're not going to play guys who are injured. And again, once Mostert and HN were done with their night's work, then it becomes a case of, do you go with a quote-unquote makeshift running back in Jaquan Burton, or do you bring back Mostert and HN for the game? And I have zero issue with the way they operated this. Sean Lucas, Tua to Craycroft was a dime. Yes, that would absolutely fit the definition of a dime. Completely agree. Nick Zukama hopefully sticks to 53 as a 6 wide receiver. Malik Washington to practice squad. Malik Washington, to me, is borderline lock to make the 53. 99.7. Malik Washington's not going to practice. And furthermore, if the Dolphins were to waive Malik Washington to try to sneak him onto the practice squad, he's not clearing waivers, which is part of the reason the Dolphins are not going to waive him. Not a chance. The crazy Greek. Is this going to be crazy also? Mike W. did make better throws tonight. Unfortunately, the other end of those plays did not equal the throw. You are absolutely correct, sir. Sean, Cam Smith played great. He did, except for the one missed tackle early in the game, because that was bad. Crazy Greek. Izukama lost his spot based on tonight's performance. Really? The dude, if anything, helped his cause tonight. He didn't hurt his cause. Okay, disagree with you. Sorry. Big Mike Baby 85. What up, Mike? Those rookie corners look nice. They do, absolutely. Unfortunately, not all of them are making the team. Because Jalen Ramsey's making the team. Kendall Fuller's making the team. Cam Smith's making the team. That's 3 right there. I think Ethan Bonner's going to make the team. That's 4. At some point, Saron Neal's going to make the team per special teams. That's 5. You can't keep 7. You can't keep 8 cornerbacks. Sean, Chop exploded off the line. He did, except the problem with that is sometimes opposing teams take advantage of that when they run the ball and it's a draw play and they'll run where Chop was supposed to have been. So that's a good, and he needs to harness that. That's going to be the very delicate balance for him. It's going to determine how much playing time he gets as a rookie. So, no, B1A, no. Didn't see anything that moved the QB2 needle tonight. No, go ahead and reply to me. Put it in the comment. Who do you have as your current QB2 would be the question. See, to me, no, I don't think it moved it either. I think Mike White's a solid QB2. And I've said that many, many times. Okay, where was I? Big Mike Baby 85. Tell everyone to hit the like button now. Hit the like button now, people. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Hunter Venezio. Hey, Hunter. Achane looked better than Mostert. What's your thoughts on letting Achane getting the bulk of the carries if he starts off strong early in season? Yeah, Achane did look better. He looked better than Mostert tonight. Sure. I think he had more holes with which to operate. He also had a carry outside where he wasn't going into traffic, where Mostert didn't have that luxury. Look, no, I don't. I get where you're coming from. I think the Dolphins are going to operate the way they did last year. It's going to be a lot of Mostert, a lot of Achane. They will ride the hot hand. There's no reason not to. But I think Mostert's is not going to be set aside because Achane can be more flashy. Sorry, not buying that. Dolphins Empire, Mostert, Achane, Wright, and Brooks. This under the assumption that there's nothing seriously wrong physically with Brooks after tonight. I could see that, and I certainly could see the Dolphins making some phone calls to see if teams are interested in throwing them a draft pick for Jeff Wilson Jr. I absolutely could see that. Whoa. Lewis M., I have a feeling Chop is going to be a bust and Kamara will be the better edge. Whoa. Only thing I'll say about that is I like Kamara a lot. I do. I really like him. And I told you guys after Dolphins drafted him in his Zoom session after he was drafted, when he talked to us in minicamp, the guy gave me massive Brian Cox vibes. And for those of you who are old enough to remember Brian Cox, if you want to know what a dog is, look up Brian Cox. I was your dude. Liked him a lot. I'm sifting through comments where you guys are talking with each other because I don't know that that's anything that's We want to put out Dolphins Empire note in preseason. You are correct, sir. Zonka Easy was giving it some effort, was giving some effort tonight. Yes, sir. And Zonka, you would know because Larry Zonka gave out a massive ton of effort. And I'm telling you, I love Ezukama in the open field. He runs hard and he's slick. Like him. Excellent question, Hunter. Excellent question. Chances Berrios gets cut. That's a very, very, very good question. And here's the thing is, it could be that the Dolphins decide that Ezukama's got something, and he does have something that they don't necessarily have a lot of in their wide receiver core. He's got size. He's a great open field guy with moves more so than just the pure speed. And then the other issue is even if they don't want to keep Ezukama, 6 wide receivers is a lot when they have positions where they could keep an extra guy. For example, in the secondary, one way to keep one of those rookie free agents is to not keep as many guys at another position. Because something's going to have to give. Because we like 4 halfbacks. We like 5 halfbacks. We're not going to keep 5 halfbacks. We like a lot of the tight ends. We're not going to keep all of the tight ends. So something has to give at some point. And could it be Berrios? I don't think it's impossible that he gets cut. Absolutely. Dolphins Empire would have been a draw. It wouldn't have been a draw if Washington had gone for 2. Dogfeather third stringers after about 11 injuries combined. The undrafted QB they had in as a camp body, just unnecessary. Oh no, you were responding to somebody else. My bad. Sorry. Zonka Berrios is not an impressive returner. Here's the thing, though, and we're going to be honest about that. Did you know? Fun fact: did you know Braxton Berrios was an All-Pro kick returner not that long ago? I think it was 2021, maybe, when he was with the New York Jets. So there's that. And then last year, very good on punt returns. He did not have one long punt return and one long kickoff return, but he was very solid. He was among the league leaders, I believe, in punt return average. He was very steady, very dependable, but no, he is not overly dynamic. So, yeah, this is a point we were making earlier. Sean Sullivan, if Malik Washington can return punts and kickoffs, then Berrios could be expendable. Yep, absolutely. I'm going to show it just because I don't want to be petty and all that. But old man Jeb says, "Tell Omar we miss him." Okay, well, I'm glad you're here, even if Omar is not. Omar's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. Sometimes I appear on his podcast. Sometimes he appears on this podcast. In the meantime, I often have Chris Perkins, Dave Hyde as guests. So hopefully you guys still and keep enjoying this podcast. And we're going to keep on trucking through the rest of the preseason. One more game. Only one more game. 4 more quarters left. And then through the final roster moves to 53, which is Tuesday, August 27th, which is always a really fun day. And then through the preparation and through the regular season, and hopefully through a long playoff run. I'm going to be here. I certainly hope you guys continue to be here. In the meantime, let's go back to, no. Raphael, I like you, Raphael, but no. Drop touchdown pass, unacceptable. The pass to Braxton Berrios in the end zone from Skylar Thompson, which was a nice throw while he was on the move, was touched by the Washington defender just before it got to Berrios. It changed the rotation of the ball. It changed the direction of the ball. If you think that's an easy catch to make or even a catch that needs to be made, otherwise we're describing it as a drop, I am sorry. I am not on board, and I think you're flat out wrong. Okay. Matt Farms, Cam Smith was on today, made a mistake early, but did well in run, stop, and pass coverage. Absolutely agree with you. DJ Lloyd, 61, very disappointed with the run defense tonight. It wasn't spectacular. The numbers aren't horrible, though, if you look. 22 carries, 111 yards, 5.0 average, for Washington, and that includes a 41-yard scramble by quarterback Jeff Driscoll up the middle. So you take that away, and if I'm doing my math very quickly, it's 21 for 70, which is a little over 3. So it's not bad. Hunter, history lesson. When was the last time the Finns went undefeated in the preseason, and what was their final regular season record? I could look it up very quickly. I don't know off the top of my head. I could look it up very quickly. But while I research it, I don't know that makes for great podcasting. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to skip on the question. For some reason, I seem to recall. No, I can't even go there. Sorry. Zonka, Skyler for QB2. Not on board. I think Mike White's QB2. Oh, man, Jeb, a lot of drops, too. I thought the backups were better than last week. They did, absolutely. Defense allowed 6 points tonight. The run defense cannot be this bad. No, they also allowed 6 points because the field goal kicker missed two field goals. But I don't know how I feel about the defense. I don't think the defense was particularly stellar. I don't think it was bad. I don't think Jeff Driscoll's a great quarterback. Be perfectly blunt. In the first drive with Jaden Daniels on the third down play, the Dolphins brought a blitz and sent down McLaurin deep, and looked to me like Jaden Daniels got rid of the ball way too quickly, long before he needed to, and resulted in incompletion. And then there was a missed field goal. So it was interesting. Let's see what else we got here. Farine, White or Thompson, pick your poison, man. Mike White's my poison there. Sorry. The pocket visits alone, I don't know. That's a standalone comment. I don't know what that means. Sorry. The crazy Greek poop always looks beyond the numbers when he sees a need. Ooh, care to elaborate there? I'm feeling attacked here, so you care to elaborate a little in another comment? Crazy Greek. Crazy Greek, fire Sanders. It's preseason, and last I checked, could be wrong, but it was a clutch field goal that put the Dolphins in the playoffs in 2022 against the Jets. And it was Sanders kicking against Dallas last year in the game that clinched the playoff spot. Again, would I prefer Justin Tucker? Sure. Or the dude from Dallas, or even Dicker the kicker, who's got a great accuracy rate. Sure. But he's not. Jason Sanders has not failed in a crucial situation that I can recall, or certainly not the last 2 years. So no, I'm not there. Finn's take with CB83. Love how we used the entire field offensively. McDaniel had a really good scripted first drive. He did. I mean, the play calling was was very good. They were all very high percentage plays that were executed very, very well. And the one thing I didn't like about the first drive, though, there was a 3rd and 1 run that was stuffed. There was a 3rd and 2 run that was stuffed. Now they were able to convert on 4th down twice. But again, here we go with the 3rd and 1. Yep, as old man Jeb just pointed out, 3rd and short struggles continue with the first team offense. Yep. Zonka looks like Coach Mike is going to commit to the run this year. To be determined, right? Randy, thank you again, Alan. Between MW and ST, who would you keep? Yeah, I'm on the record saying Mike White to me is the guy there. Dolphins Empire should trade Jeff Wilson for a solid O-line piece. I don't think you're getting a quote-unquote solid O-line piece for a running back that is – it's not apples for apples. Steve Wise, the AP, what I noticed is White throws the first option, even if the guy's covered. Skyler will occasionally pull out of the first option to look for a secondary option or extend the play. Skyler will look to run way more than Mike White will. Absolutely. He's also a lot more mobile than Mike White is. But I've seen Mike White go to his second read. And in fact, I've seen times where he's in the pocket and it's like he's looking 5 different guys and he's got nobody open. So again, to me, it's like want to see Mike White with the first team. It's not quite sure exactly why that hasn't been done yet. Sean Sullivan, that will be hard to do since even backup. I don't know again what that refers to, and I'm gonna. Steve Wisey, outside interior offensive line backup QB remains the biggest weakness on the team. Maybe. Let's see what else we got. Denny W, that's because they constantly throw at Kohu and he's terrible in coverage, so he better be high in tackles. Is he terrible in coverage? It's a little harsh, no? No? A little harsh? Okay. Crazy Greek, I believe based on tonight's performance, we should expect a Super Bowl, no question. Okay. Rafael, I was happy with long pass completion, but on 3rd and 2, freaking run the ball. I don't know what 3rd and 2 you're talking about. I don't know what 3rd and 2 you're talking about. Because on 3rd and 2, if you're talking about the Tua touchdown pass on 3rd and 2, they did run the ball. It was stuff for only a 1-yard gain, and then it became 4th and 1, and that's when he threw the touchdown pass. Peter McDowell, Tyndall made some plays again. Could he make the roster? He could. And part of the equation here is Anthony Walker Jr. and the mystery with his injury. He hasn't practiced in a bit. Haven't seen him at practice. Usually the guys who are injured eventually walk around. You see him on the field. And have not seen Anthony Walker Jr. I believe I saw a shot of him on the sideline tonight at Hard Rock Stadium. Not 100% sure. So we'll see. Crazy Greek, I have PTSD regarding Tannehill. Yeah, there are a lot of factors. And I discussed it. We had a show earlier today with Dave Hyde. He wrote a column basically suggesting the Dolphins should sign Ryan Tannehill, make the call to bring him in. I'm not on board with it. This offense is built on timing, getting the ball out quickly. That's not Ryan Tannehill's forte in the least. Yes, you can make adjustments. But then if you're not getting the ball out quickly to adjust to what Tannehill does best, how much are you diminishing the full impact of what Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle bring to the offense? So, okay, we'll keep going a little bit longer. Let's see if we've still got a bunch of comments. Gilbert Martinez, how is Kendall Fuller playing in your opinion? Okay. I can't say he's necessarily flooring me, but I haven't seen anything egregious the wrong way either. Kiba, we need to trade for a starting offensive guard. I don't think it's happening. And whether I agree with your premise, who's trading an offensive guard? And for those who got crazy with the idea of James Daniels from Pittsburgh because he's a pending free agent next offseason, and he put out on social media that the teams told him they're not going to re-sign him, and they drafted a couple of offensive linemen in 2024. I am told that the rookie offensive linemen are not ready yet, that they want James Daniels to be their guy, that they would not trade him. Or if they did, it would be maybe in a package or as part of a trade for Braden Ayuk. But Don't know. I love your URL. I visit at least once a day. Thank you, Crazy Greek. And again, everybody, it's very simple now. Miami Dolphins on SI.com. Lo-fi anime and FTI. Do you like the DT depth play? A lot of those DTs made plays without question. I mean, Neville Gallimore was active. Isaiah Mack's been very active during training camp. Brandon Pilley had a sack. Didn't notice Jonathan Harris today. Again, it was done against probably third-team offensive lineman from Washington. So, Stephen S. Boop, do you think the Dolphins should have drafted an O-lineman? They did draft an O-lineman. They took Patrick Paul in round 2. Should they, if you mean should they have drafted an O-lineman in the first round instead of Chop Robinson? I don't know. Positional value. An edge pass rusher has more positional value than an interior offensive lineman. And if you're drafting to build a future, to build your team, help it now and in the future, if you look ahead, Bradley Chubb, don't know how long he's going to be with the team. Cap number is very high. He's got no guaranteed salary beyond 2024. Was this a pick made with the idea that Dolphins maybe move on from from Bradley Chubb in a year or so, and they have a ready-made replacement? So, I don't know. Reggie Poop, this team is finesse, Chop unimpressive against second string. Okay. I have said for a while that it's a finesse team, without question. Yep. Peter McDowell, Campbell on special teams stood out. That was some hit and should not have been a flag. Yeah, you know what? Here's the problem, though. Yeah, it should have been a flag. He's a pure, clear helmet to helmet. That's a flag. That's an automatic flag. There was no intent. That's a flag. Well, Matt Farms, Master Lock. That's right, Master. There you go. Thank you. Gerardo Fernandez, what did you think about Patrick Paul's performance? It was a rookie performance of a guy who's a work in progress. And maybe a good reminder for those who are ready to put him in the starting lineup. And I had this suggestion on Twitter for mailbag questions. Be on the lookout for those. I published a mailbag on Miami Dolphins on SI Saturday. There's going to be another one tomorrow and one Monday. And I can tell you the suggestion has been made by some fans. How about we just move Teron Armstead to guard because Patrick Pauls looks so good? This was before tonight. And this is where, to me, the answer is always going to be like, whoa. And tonight just was a reminder of, again, sure, he may have a very bright future. He's still a rook who needs a lot. He's got a lot to learn. Sackman 56, Mike White just doesn't have it. Okay. Old man Jeb, if you need a backup for 2-3 games, I think the Dolphins would be fine. But if Tua goes down for the year, you call Ryan or Brady. Okay. Oh, Brady. Tom Brady, that's an interesting one right there. Okay. Let's see. Let's look to start wrapping this up. We're getting close to going on an hour here. Let's see. Jeff, is Tyndall gone or practice squad? I don't know, and I'm not sure he clears waivers if the Dolphins put him out there. And again, based on Anthony Walker Jr.'s mysterious situation and the fact that he was hurt more often than not the last couple of years. I'm not so sure Tyndall doesn't make the team, which is a change from me because I thought, especially since Walker looked so good in the spring. So, see what else. Okay, I'm trying to find a good one here to end it. Oh, there's so many here. H, what's up, Poop? I know it's preseason. However, how are you feeling? Like it's preseason. That's how I'm feeling. It's preseason. I'm feeling fine. Thank you. Thanks for asking. No, I'm assuming you feel, how do I feel about the Dolphins? I don't know that I see a ton of difference right now from last year's team, to be very honest. I think we're looking at a very, very similar team. I'm still concerned what's it going to look like when December rolls around. I still think they're going to be really, really good at times, going to look like world beaters at times. Can they get to that next step? I don't know. I don't know yet. What do we got here? No, B1. Hey, no, thank you again. Who do you think must get a serious final look in next week's game? Someone on the bubble. That is a great question. And again, I'm not inside Mike McDaniel's head. If he's thinking of going with Skylar as a number 2, then I absolutely think Mike White deserves a shot with the first team offense next week, or as many of the frontline guys, or close to frontline guys, because I actually don't think you're going to see a lot of those guys. Channing Tindall needs to get a look. Eric Ezukama needs to get another look. The 3 rookie free agents need to get another look. But if we're talking about guys, Nick Needham needs to get a look. I think he's a veteran who's in danger. If we're talking about like bigger names, the tight ends, if they're healthy, Tanner Connor needs a look. Jody Fortson needs a look if he's healthy, because there are decisions to be made at tight end as well. Chris Brooks, if he's healthy, needs to get a lot of work to get a full look. But again, you kind of get the feeling that a lot of the frontline guys are not going to be playing. So what kind of a legitimate look is Chris Brooks going to get, for example, if he's operating behind second team offensive linemen? So we shall see. I'm going to go to the bottom here of the comments. Whoa, they keep coming fast and furious. Chris, thanks again. Alan, I love your style. Got a broken leg and your show cheers me up. Thanks. Oh, dude. Well, first off, thank you. And I love your style too. And I love your ability to recognize style. That is very impressive. Props to you, my friend. And sorry about the broken leg. Hope it heals soon and completely back to normal. Saran Neal made some plays and think he will be a difference maker on special teams along with Campbell. If he made plays, if you're talking about the one pass breakup he had, look at the replay from the correct angle, and he was beaten badly on the play, and Jeff Driscoll took forever to get the ball over there. And on top of that, then underthrew it. And then Saran Neal was playing catch up to the ball, to the receiver, and it wound up hitting him in the back. So he got a PBU on a play where he was really beaten because of quarterback error. So no, that was not good. And Saran Neal in coverage is, let's say, not ideal. He'll be on the team because he's a very, very good special teams player. But as a defensive back, there's a reason the dude's barely played any defense since he got into the NFL in his 4 years with the Buffalo Bills. Okay, we're approaching an hour here. So again, let me lower the bottom. See, I'm trying to. This is very interesting. Dundee Dolphin, running back, wide receiver, DB, safety, edge, linebacker, all better than last season, in my opinion. Running back, it has to be because of the same guys, and you add Jalen Wright. Wide receiver, kind of the same guys. I mean, it will be once OBJ actually starts playing, but Cedric Wilson actually did a good job last year, but it's just kind of the same group. DB, you have DB and safety, so we're assuming cornerback and safety. Safety, the trade-offs have been you brought in Jordan Poyer and Marcus May for Deshaun Elliott and Brandon Jones. Can't argue with that. Cornerback, you brought in Kendall Fuller for Xavier Howard. I will maintain a healthy or close to healthy Xavier Howard's a better player. Edge, you brought in Chop Robinson, Mohamed Kamara. You lost Andrew Van Ginkel. And you have Bradley Chubb returning from a torn ACL. Jalen Phillips back from an Achilles tendon. I don't know how you can say you're better there, personally. Linebacker, agree. You brought in David Long Jr. Well, Anthony Walker Jr. is not playing. You brought in Jordan Brooks and Anthony Walker Jr., except Anthony Walker has been out of commission. And then you lost Jerome Baker. So maybe a slight upgrade. So I don't disagree with any of what you said vehemently, although Edge, I think last year you were in better shape. Again, partly because of the better health for Bradley Chubb. Let me go to some of my regulars here. I don't know if you're still here, Marsalis. I like the vid. Peace out. Thank you very much, sir. And then we have gone past an hour, and it's past my bedtime. I kid, but I'm tired. Been a long day, a lot of work. And I think we're going to wrap it up with this. And again, as always, I am going to thank each and every one of you for joining me on this live All Dolphins podcast post-game recap. Much appreciated. Thanks for the comments. Thanks even more for the compliments. You know I love the compliments. But more than anything, thanks for joining. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. Please check out the work on their website for free, Miami Dolphins on SI at MiamiDolphinsOnSI.com. Thinking we'll do something Sunday. Check out to see if maybe my man Perk wants to join me and share his thoughts on this particular game. In the meantime, that's going to wrap it up. I want to thank everyone again for joining. Have a great rest of the evening on the East Coast. That's the last 36 hours for those in other time zones. However long the rest of your day is. Thanks again.